Empty slopes, a few people milling about, and a lone eerie snow cannon still running in the background. If you're picturing something out of 28 Days Later, I don't blame you. But no, this isn't due to an apocalypse, but is rather the result of trust funds, broken trust, and a litany of poor decisions. I present to you, Ski Resort Meltdown Episode 2, Telluride Electric Boogaloo. Now here's the thing about Telluride in full blunt honesty. Telluride is an amazing mountain. It's so remote that it rarely sees crowds, it's in a beautiful setting, and has amazing terrain variety. But just as with any ski town, there are issues. Outside of Vail Resorts, no other ski resort seems to get as much media attention as Telluride. Sure, it'd be easy to copy everyone else and talk about the strike for the next 4 hours, but that event has already generated enough coverage to keep the Denver Post busy for the next 3 winters, so we're just going to acknowledge that it happened and move on. Same thing with Chuck. You know he's insufferable, I do too. No point in talking to a wall. A wall that tries to run a ski resort. One of the most touted things about Telluride is its 2 separate towns, Mountain Village and Telluride proper. Telluride is named after the element tellurium, which is rather humorous since, like the element, it's extremely rare to find anything remotely normal. The town is so remote that the nearest major airport is just somewhere else. Meanwhile, the town of Mountain Village looks like someone tried to build Aspen inside of an airport terminal. I would say that all they're missing is the moving walkways, but they've even got those. Getting between the 2 towns is unique in that, rather than a bus or a train like any other sane settlement, their transit system is a gondola. That's all well and good, but with the amount of hype people place in this system, one would think you're in line to take pictures with Beyonce. Telluride is the only place on Earth where the billionaire's daughter takes Instagram pictures on the public transit. And of course, miss the last gondola, and suddenly you're researching taxi prices that require a small mortgage. This dichotomy of the towns is also demonstrated on the mountain, where half the people are wearing $1,500 jackets and the other half sport something older than the chairlifts they're sitting on. This is where oil money meets marijuana spending, and they often don't mix. This can make for some, well, let's just call them interesting interactions. Telluride is the only place where you can hear the King's English and ski bum jive in the same conversation. The ski resort itself might just have the weirdest layout I've ever skied, and I'm including both the world's largest ski area and Cloudmont, Alabama in that list. At Telluride, half of the mountain is reachable by ski lift. The other half requires a minor cardio workout. And by minor, I'm talking on the level of Olympic skimo, except nobody in Telluride is wearing spandex voluntarily. To be fair, there is a good share of skiing in jeans in Telluride, but I suppose that's what happens when the weather is more suitable to rock climbing than it is to skiing. Granted, if you wanted to go rock climbing but while carrying skis, there's no better place than Telluride. Just hike up Palmyra Peak for your daily shot of masochism. Rather than earn your turns, it's earn your heart palpitations. Of course, when you go to leave that Palmyra area, you might be inclined to take Galloping Goose, which is a ski run in the same sense that a treadmill is a nature hike. Oh, you thought the only cardio you'd have to do was hiking the peak? If you've never seen a picture of the Galloping Goose rail car, you have now. Somehow, that thing was more functional as a train than this trail is as a ski run. I feel like I need an attitude indicator when I pass people skinning up, because half the time I'm honestly not sure which of us is going downhill. Aside from the future of the ski resort as a whole, we've known that was going downhill for a long time now. Now, it would be all well and good if Galloping Goose was an isolated incident, but that's about as far from reality as expecting the Death Star to pass an OSHA inspection. On the other end of the difficulty spectrum, Telluride Blacks don't start with moguls, they start with small existential crises. But one of the common gripes with Telluride is that there aren't many good options between the Galloping Geese and the Palmyra Peaks. As a counterpoint, I offer the Telluride ice hockey rink. No, not that one. This one. And oh boy, if you thought that Telluride brought out the best skating form, wait until you see the wedge stops on the dark side. Sometimes I have to remind myself that I'm at a world-class mountain and not Ski Dubai. But of course, skiing is only half the experience. The other half happens after you take the boots off. Bars are full of people who either look like they just walked off a cover shoot for a magazine, or like they've been rescued after 20 years in the woods. Ordering a drink is a gamble. One wrong choice and you're either drinking something that costs as much as your lift ticket, or something that tastes like melted plastic with a hint of regret. Meanwhile, the soundtrack alternates between a Fleetwood Mac hit, directly followed by a song that sounds like it was recorded inside a tin can on a roller coaster. It's chaos, it's chic, and somehow it works. At least, until you realize the gondola closed 2 hours ago. One thing that does make Telluride stand out is its trail names. Runs like Dihedral Chute and Revelation Bowl are known all across the country. But then you go look at some of the names lower down, and you remember that Telluride is the skiing equivalent of an unsupervised Boy Scout camp. Telluride run names range from poetic inspiration to what I can only hope was a keyboard accident. And the name of Lift 7, Coonskin, had to be removed, but Zulu Queen is okay? Or are we just waiting to give TripAdvisor reviewers something else to complain about? Talking about Telluride's lack of lift investment is a bit too easy. However, there's one big offender that I just can't bear to ignore. The Sunshine Express is one of the longest high-speed lifts in North America, which is impressive considering it was built in 1986 and still occasionally makes noises that sound like it's remembering the Cold War. I mean, this thing is seriously from the era of neon ski suits. Shoot, this thing might somehow outlast the B-52 at this point. If I had to explain why people keep coming back to Telluride, it's not just the skiing or the views. And it's definitely not the parking situation. It's something harder to explain. Telluride is a place where you come to prove something to yourself. Maybe it's that you can ski terrain that looks like it was designed by a geological committee that hates knees. Maybe it's that you can spend a day earning your turns and feel morally superior for it. Or maybe it's just that, somewhere between the ridge and the valley floor, you forget everything except the mountain. At the end of the day, Telluride doesn't apologize for being itself. It's beautiful, it's infuriating, it's expensive, and it will absolutely make you question every life choice that led you here. But when you finally reach the summit, carve a line that makes your quads scream and look down at the town glittering below, you feel it all, and realize it was worth every step. But just remember, the mountain doesn't care how much you paid, how much gear you own, or how many YouTube subscribers you have. It will humble you anyway. And that's the real luxury. All my love, I'm out.